So, hey, I'd like you to imagine for a minute that you have a time machine and you can go back in time to when I first got out of PT school in 1992. And let's relive the 1990s together. I can tell you what it was like. It was full of a bunch of Gen Xers. And the only thing that we would be talking about in the private practice industry was more patients, more staff, more money. More patients, more staff, more money. And that was how physical therapy was. It was like the more volume, the more patients, the more staff you could have, the more services you could provide, the more income your business would generate. With that income, because physical therapists aren't generally greedy people, I mean, greed to an extent fulfills a necessity level of more horsepower in the tank so that you could do greater, better, bigger things, both in your life personally and professionally. So don't get me wrong. I don't have an aversion to profit making. That's not the message here. The message here is that when you run a successful business and it affords you the opportunity to make a profit, you can do greater and better things with that profit within your practice, both for your staff, your patients, and your business, as well as your own personal life. So back in the 1990s, that was the focus. That was it. There wasn't a whole lot of drama. There wasn't a whole lot of, aberration on the employment lines. People kind of came in, they knew what they were doing. They're like, we're going to be seeing somewhere in the area of 14 visits a day. We're going to be seeing 2 patients an hour. We're going to be, providing the care that we need, document our notes, turn it in, go out on happy hour together. We're going to have company parties twice a year, the holiday party, the summer party. And honestly, that's how it was. Back then they would stock the kitchen with food and we would have snacks and foods and drinks. And then of course we'd bring our lunch and stuff like that. So that's worth noting. It's worth talking about because here we are, fast forward, get off the time machine, go into 2024. How do we create an environment, create a practice model in which the people we work with, the people we employ, the people on our team have the work-life balance, have the happiness, satisfaction, sense of accomplishment, sense of pride due to productivity in today's world? I think it can be done. I think when I really step back and look at it, and when you really consider for a minute what you're really trying to do, what is the main reason why you went to physical therapy school? To help as many people as possible and to give the greatest volume and greatest skilled care that you can with each and every engagement. So to be the best therapist you can and throw the kitchen sink at every patient, go above and beyond, exchange in abundance with your patients for sure, and try to get as many people in and out of your doors as you possibly can within reason, where you can hold the highest bar of quality care and the highest bar of patient care experience with each and every engagement, with each and every patient. So greatly efficient, help as many people as you can, give the greatest, highest level skilled care you can with each and every engagement, with each and every session, with each and every treatment. I always felt blessed and grateful that there's 12 clinics within 2 miles of my office, but the patient sitting on the table chose to be here with me. And I was very honored and I was grateful, appreciative of the idea that they are here with me when they have all these choices. Physical Therapy 2024. Let's be successful. Let's actually recreate that environment of the 1990s whereby people are loving the profession, loving the people they work with, enjoying the craft of physical therapy and applying the skill set of physical therapy to their patients. In order for us to achieve that, we have to follow the following bullet points. Number 1, let's talk about the fact that physical therapy is no longer a medical providing practice. It's no longer a medical provider. Yes, we're in medicine. Yes, we have a degree. Yes, we've trained in the skills of the science of physical therapy for sure. But people who are selecting to go to your clinic are retail shoppers. People are searching the web, searching the internet. They're watching the videos on your website. If you don't have a video on your website, you should put one on there right away so people can connect with you. People are looking for an experience. They're looking for somebody who cares about them. Look, unless you want to be part of the alphabet soup of franchises or corporates out there where people are just turning and burning, they're just bringing patients in, treating them, sending them to the aide or the tech or, whatever they're doing, and then sending them home. Look, I just today, when I say recently, just today, I was on a phone call, a business call, and I was talking to another high-level executive in the area of healthcare who said he recently went to physical therapy for his shoulder. And he named 2 clinics he went to. I knew both of them. He was in the Midwest area. And one of them was a big, alphabet soup clinic, you can imagine. And the other one was more of a privately held, 10 or 15 location kind of thing by a private owner. He said the first one, after about the 4th visit, I quit. He goes, I could do this at home. I could watch Bob and Brad on the internet. I know YouTube. And I was like laughing. I was like, yeah, everybody knows that. I'm like, but oh my gosh, I've never heard somebody wanting to quit physical therapy because they didn't think they were getting the best care. They weren't getting skilled care. They weren't getting something that they couldn't just do on the internet or do at home. That's like, in my mind, that's more like some of the other professions we know out there. I mean, let's just face it, in chiropractic world, which I'm not like pointing anything out that you don't already know. Most patients who leave chiropractic either run out of money or run out of time. They fire the chiropractor. I don't know of anybody who said, my chiropractor sat down with me and said, hey, guess what? We met our long-term goals. We have achieved your success. You've achieved people feel better, but do they actually set goals? I mean, I don't know. But all of a sudden I'm hearing physical therapy patients saying that. That's a crime. That's an atrocity. That should never happen. And then this person went into and I'm just telling the story, right? Then they went into this other story where they went to the private, and the person asked all about them and took him outside and wanted to see how he got his seatbelt on and used his arm and shoulder and really got him to think about his body mechanics and his day-to-day environment and how he could actually modify things, strengthen things, how he could work through stabilization to brute strength, through range of motion, and just really collaborated and worked together alongside the patient and got him to his goals, got him to achieve his short and long-term goals. I'm like, all right, we are retail shoppers today is my message. People are shopping around to find a practice that the patient care experience is second to none. Not just everybody knows when they go in that the clinician is skilled and has more knowledge than they do as a patient. Everybody knows that. But do they have the best experience while opening themselves up or availing themselves to the physical therapy care? That's what's really critical. So if you know that that's what we're in the business for, then you've got to look. Now we've looked at the patients, the retail shoppers. Now we got to look inside. Let's look at our staff. What does our staff think? Does your staff think that you're asking them to bill more units, put down more charges, to buy a bigger boat, to make more money, to line your pockets, to have a greater profit margin, to make more profit? What do they think? What is it like when you have your weekly staff meetings or your monthly staff meetings and you're going over the performance of the clinic and you're like, well, our units are down or our average unit per visit is this and it really should be that. What do we need to do to get our units up? We need to actually make sure that we're charging appropriately for everything we're doing. What if, just imagine that you never, ever entered into the realm that physical therapists do billing. Because in my book, in my world, if I was to coach you, if you were to come in through Meg Academy and I'm your coach, I'm going to coach your staff that physical therapists don't have anything to do with billing. Physical therapists don't bill. You didn't get that in physical therapy school. You know what you got? You went through school, you learned how to treat your patients, you learned how to document what you did, and you learned how to code what you documented. Because the EMR systems and the insurance carriers, both commercial and federal, have computers reading the note through the codes and matching them up. Now they have AI, right? So as a clinician, I have to treat my patient, give the greatest volume of care I can in the session. I have to write my note so that if I was out the next day, somebody could follow my shoes, and that there's some written documentation to support everything that I'm doing, demonstrates medical necessity and functional outcomes. And I have to code appropriate to what I've documented. And that's it. I rock and roll. The fact is, if a patient's coming in, I would tell a therapist, and they have a $40 copay and they see Sally, and Sally delivers 2.5 units of care, which represents the volume of care that was delivered according to the documentation. And they paid a $40 copay. And then they come in the next appointment, they see Jan for whatever reason, and Jan delivers 4 units of care, 3.75, which is the industry standard or above. I'm going to want to see Jan. I paid the same $40 copay, and guess what? I feel the love. I feel the intensity. I feel the commitment. I feel the genuine interest and investment in me as a patient because you spent more time. You delivered more care. We went through more things together. You engaged me more. So as a physical therapy private practice owner, understand that you're a retail provider. You're in the retail business. You're selling physical therapy services to people based on their experience. Number two, you have to now become a coach, a mentor. Look, I'm not asking you to be the type of leader that's a dictator or a director or a president where it's all about me, 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 I. Look how great it is. Look at all the great things I did. No, you should be the leader that, brings everybody along, that guides them, mentors them, enhances them both personally and professionally. And they look back at the 2 years they've been working with you and they say, this is the best decision I ever made. You taught me that I'm not in the business of billing. I'm not in the business of charges. I'm coding what I did. You showed me that it's my responsibility, based on the reason why I went to PT school, to be more clinically efficient, less chatty Cathy and more down to business. The ability to take a subjective and be able to politely interrupt somebody and redirect the conversation so we can move it on. The ability to treat and document point of service documentation while I treat. The ability to use a care extender appropriately, ethically, within the rules and regulations so that I can save time, energy, and effort, so I can keep moving and keep my clinical brain going. I'm grateful for that. As a clinician, I no longer have the burden of all these other things. I just have to be clinically efficient and highly productive with each and every patient that I'm treating during each and every session. That narrows my scope. That brings me more work-life balance. You give me an EMR system that I can have, clinical AI documentation, just interpret what I'm saying and into a note. Well, I'm surely walking out the door within an hour of my last patient. I'm loving this job. I'm loving the fact that you introduced technology, that you've brought in remote services. I don't have to learn billing. I just have to learn documentation and what the codes are that reflect what I'm saying in my notes. You're enhancing my skill set clinically as a clinician. Physical therapists don't bill. The more you talk about that and the more you talk and use the word charges, the more they look at like you're asking them to run up the tab. I'm never asking my therapist to run up the tab, but I'm asking them to give a fair abundance of care with their patient. I'm asking them not to take advantage of their patient. Look, if the patient comes in and they have Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal and it's 100% paid, what are you going to do? 5 units now? No, that wouldn't be appropriate either. You're going to give a high volume of care. If the person's on an HMO or some cap, it is what it is. But I'm going to give the abundance of care with each and every session according to the schedule that you've set out. Obviously, in the world of physical therapy, the absolute best schedule when you have the right setup and you're in team approach is to do 2 patients an hour, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, keeping every patient 55 to 65 minutes, doing point of service documentation, doing supervised modalities, having care extenders. All of that stuff helps, bringing the patient back 5 minutes early, keeping them 5 minutes late. There's my secret sauce on how you can run an every half-hour schedule, keeping a patient 55 to 65 minutes, having a little bit of crossover that you can't necessarily bill for, but you can come back to it as you go back and forth. You can do that. And if you don't know how to do that, you should learn how to do that. Your commercial carriers are held to a different standard of practice than your federally paid carriers, according to the 8 to 23 minute rule and the 8-minute rule. You should know that. You should coach your therapist on that. These are the tips. This episode is about giving you professional tips for your practice success, for your therapist success. As a practice owner, I know your pain. I know your struggle. I know that you can't afford to pay a therapist $80,000, $85,000, $90,000 a year in some cases who are routinely seeing patients and delivering 2 units of care, 2.5 units, even 3 units of care. You've got overhead, insurance, taxes, payroll. I get it. But it all comes back to you. All comes back. How are you going to coach your staff, your clinicians, in a manner that reconnects them to the heart and soul of why they went to PT school, so that they see themselves delivering the care in a manner that's clinically efficient, highly productive for the benefit of the patient? I'm not asking you to do this for the benefit of me. I'm saying I want to have the bar and the standard of practice held really high so that the patient's raving about their experience in our clinic. If I'm not getting 65% of my new patients in this door because of the patient care experience of my past patients who've told a friend, family member, neighbor, then we're doing something wrong. We're definitely doing something wrong if that's the case. So my message to you is, if you don't know how to coach on this, call, email, JENN@megbusiness.com. All the contact information is below. If you like this content because I'm actually helping you on how to actually manage, direct, mentor your clinician so you can have a more viable practice, click like and subscribe. All of that helps me to reach more people. But best of all, if you want to coach and you want to have coaching sessions on how to deliver, you want me on Zoom to lecture to your staff this exact topic on how it's going to happen, and I'm doing it on your behalf, I'll do that. Whatever it takes to get you so you can run a practice with a 20% net revenue. You deserve, for the amount of time, energy, and effort, the amount that you're risking, you deserve to live the life of a practice owner that has freedom, financial stability, matched up with optimum time flexibility. Don't be like me way back in the beginning, in the early 2000s, when I was running my show and I went to work and I literally didn't come home that night. I did not go back to my bed. My wife had to bring me a change of clothes. Do not live that life. It's not admirable. That is not it. Work smarter, not harder. Don't let fear stop you from going into business for yourself. Learn what you know, lean into your strengths, literally expand those, and then complement with what you don't know. 28 startups in the last 30 months have started up and they're outsourcing their billing with us. They're outsourcing their virtual front desk with us. They're outsourcing their credentialing. They're like, that's not my wheelhouse. I'm going to pay for what I need, flat bill, no payroll, no taxes, no vacation, no holidays, less people to manage. And I'm going to build a practice with just DPTs, PTAs, and techs. If you want a progressive PT practice model like that, all you have to do is get the help. If not with us, find somebody else who can coach and teach you and train you how to do that, who can give you the resources and the services like that. We will do everything we can to keep the budget as low as possible so you can live the life that you've envisioned for yourself as a private practice owner that's capturing 20 cents on the dollar for the work that you're doing within your practice. And you can literally be treating patients 15 to 20 hours a week and running your business, not letting it run you. That's my message for this week. As always, start each and every morning expecting to do well. And don't forget to think of 5 things every night when you go to bed that you are grateful for today, because it really is important for you to envision the fact that you're as successful as the people you surround yourself with. That's it, everybody. Get out there and do it. Don't hold back. Don't be risk adverse.